Hey everyone, Blaze here, welcome to a anime haul video. This is going to be another Discotek media haul. I've got 10 Discotek media releases and one that is just related to some Discotek stuff I picked up. This is the new filming location. If you don't know anything about it, watch the previous video, the discussion video I did about it, where I waffled on for about 10 minutes talking about why I'm here and what I plan to do here. But anyway, so we got some really cool Discotek media stuff to get into. Let's do that straight away, shall we? So first up, we're going to take a look at some 1970s giant robot awesomeness from Discotek. Something that obviously they like to give us quite a lot. This is pretty much one of their most latest releases. I got the complete standard definition on Blu-ray release of Voltes 5. So yeah, this is a complete 40 episode series on one Blu-ray disc, which is pretty freaking cool. And I really like the fact this has alternate artwork underneath. Looks really cool. I do like it when they do that. And it's the same on the other side. And then we have the disc, which is, I think it's the same as the disc, but we've also got some nice inside artwork which is different as well. But yeah, this is a giant robot series. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about. I knew it existed and all that, but I don't know much of the history behind it. I know it's not a Going a Guy production or anything. It might say something about it on the back. Have we got anything? Directed by Tadao Nagahama. Any names jumping out here? Nothing immediately jumping out. It's a Sunrise series. And yeah, I believe it's 1977 this show came out. Anyway, yeah, really happy to have this. I want to get all the Discotek giant robot stuff, and yeah, I'm very happy to have an opportunity to buy another one. Decided to pre-order this one because I want to try and get on top of Discotek media releases, as you're aware, and one way of doing that obviously is to pre-order some of the newer ones that are coming out. Don't want to pre-order everything, or I don't even want to collect everything Discotek would put out, but some particular series, especially ones like this, I definitely want to put the money down early for it and just get it in the collection and not drag my feet with it, because that's the problem I've had with everything else I've bought or want to buy from Discotek, is I've just dragged my feet with it, and then suddenly, you know, oh, like another release has come out and another release has come out, and suddenly there's 3 of them, and suddenly I have to put in so much money in order to get them all, and it's just, yeah, so the best thing to do is just pre-order them and get it out of the way. So yeah, Voltes 5, looking forward to eventually watching that one. Okay, so next thing, I've got 3 Going a Guy releases. I've actually got 4, but we're going to talk about the first 3 here, because these are all part of one franchise. I've got 2 Discotek releases on Blu-ray and 1 DVD, which isn't a Discotek release at all, but it's a more convenient way of owning this show. Discotek haven't even put it out. The first one we're going to be talking about, we'll do it in chronological order of their release. So the first one we got here is Getter Robo Armageddon. This is a 1998, I believe, giant robot series, obviously based on Getter Robo. This is 13 episodes, and it's an OVA series. It has an English dub on it, which is pretty cool. I believe ADV put a dub on it back in the day. And yeah, because it's 1998, this is cel animated, so it looks pretty good on Blu-ray. I've seen some screenshots. I haven't actually stuck this in the Blu-ray player yet, but I'm pretty sure this should look really cool. I love the slipcover Discotek did for this. I love the fact it doesn't have the Blu-ray border. I believe this is one of the first releases that Discotek did with a slipcover, and yeah, I really kind of wish they carried on the designs of not putting a Blu-ray border on everything. Like Voltes 5 has the Blu-ray border, like, and then you got the normal Blu-ray border. There's obviously that's a standard definition Blu-ray border, but anyway, whatever. Yeah, I just kind of like the way this looks. It looks really nice on the shelf, and just in general. But yeah, this is a show I definitely want to get into and watch soon. I've kind of I was initially on the fence about watching this one without having watched the original, but obviously the original came out all the way back in 1973, I believe, and I think there was a sequel to that as well, Getter Robo G or something. I believe there's also a 90s series as well, like a early 90s spin-off series as well. But yeah, like a lot of that stuff isn't fully fan subbed, and the stuff that is not the best subs out there. And in reality, I kind of would rather wait for a Discotek release of those. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't had a Discotek release of at least the original Getter Robo series. So anyway, this is only 13 episodes. This is meant to be over the top, bombastic, way better than the, well, maybe not necessarily way better, but you know, probably way more interesting to some degree than the original Saturday morning styled like Monster of the Week Getter Robo series from the 70s. So yeah, looking forward to watching this one a lot. And I should have bought it ages ago. This came out in like 2016, I think. I dragged my feet on this one way too long. I've wanted this since it came out, and for some reason I just never ever got around to it. I'm trying to put right all those wrongs at the moment, and yeah, this is one of the ones I wanted to get as soon as I could. Obviously with the Discotek Media freaking warehouse distribution issues, a lot of this stuff is still kind of hard to get, so there's some titles I'm just kind of having to pick and choose what I can find. Apparently, and this is another thing I got from Flippertaku's recent anime haul. I'll put a link in the description to his channel. Really awesome guy. Definitely go and watch and subscribe if you're not already, which you probably are. But anyway, yeah, I've totally lost my train of thought. He said that apparently the distribution center, warehouse, whatever that Discotek was using, have gone under after all this freaking chaos. Like the business is basically gone. I assume they probably lost some major contracts, and yeah, because it was just a complete shit show, and they've gone under. So Discotek are supposed to be looking for a new warehouse or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked into it fully beyond what Flippertaku says, but I trust him. So presumably, we should be getting closer to having this all fixed, and that'd be awesome. Because again, as someone who's trying to pick up Discotek stuff right now, it's really difficult to find certain titles. It's gotten better, as Discotek mentioned it might over at Oddicom. At their Oddicom panel, they said it might get better, and it has gotten slightly better, but it's still not perfect. There is some stuff I still really want to get that I just can't at the moment, which is frustrating. Anyway, to follow that release up, I picked up the Blu-ray release. I'm glad I waited on this one at least a little bit, although this Blu-ray release has also been out for donkey's years at this point, but there were times when I almost bought this on DVD, and I'm glad I didn't, because I now have it on Blu-ray, which is Shin Getter Robo versus Neo Getter Robo. I always get confused because I always want to say New Getter Robo, but obviously that's literally what Shin Getter Robo means in Japanese, I'm pretty sure. So I'll literally be saying the same thing twice then, but yeah, it says Neo Getter Robo. So this is a 4-episode OVA follow-up to Getter Robo Armageddon. Maybe, it might not be, but it's just part of the same franchise, obviously. Interesting thing about this Blu-ray release, it doesn't have a menu. It has a pop-up menu, but when you put it in, it just immediately starts loading up the 4 episodes. So yeah, there's no title menu or anything where select chapters and play film. It just starts playing it, and then you can fiddle with everything afterwards. This is sub only. It never came out in English. Kind of surprised this never got licensed back in the day. 4 episodes, like pretty much all the other Getter Robo stuff did come out from this time period, and just general Go Nagai stuff all came out from this time period. For some reason this one got looked over at the time, which is strange. I don't know why ADV passed this up, but apparently they did. But anyway, we have it in Blu-ray quality now. I have popped this in, although for not very long. It looked pretty good on Blu-ray. Maybe not overly amazing, but it did look pretty good. Again, it was a while ago, and I only saw like the first 2 minutes of it or something. I didn't watch too much of it because obviously I wasn't committing to watching it then, and it's not very long anyway, so I didn't want to go too crazy. Is that a robot on a horse? That looks like a robot on a horse. Just over here. What the hell? Yeah. That's cool. What the hell? Is that a guy in a suit? I assume that must be like... Is that a guy in a suit? Like a metal like armoured suit? Or is that like a freaking giant robot and a giant fucking real horse or something? It can't be. I don't know. Looking forward to watching this anyway. I want to get through all this Getter Robo stuff relatively soon, I hope. Okay, so... to complete and to round out my little Getter Robo pickups here, we've got a release from Australia. I like to get complete sets for the Go Nagai stuff at the moment, because basically my Go Nagai shelf is where all my Go Nagai stuff is, And yeah, I don't really want to have to put in giant art boxes. Unfortunately, in America, and this is name dropping him again, Flippertaku recently just picked this up. In America, it was only ever released as 4 volumes in an art box. You can either buy them separately or as a complete set, but that was the only way it was ever released in that form factor. I'll probably put a picture of it over here somewhere. But fortunately in Australia, via Madman Entertainment, I've got a couple of these releases in my collection just to save a bit of space. This is the latest one I've picked up. Madman Entertainment put out across 4 volumes, but they also did a complete single DVD or single DVD case set for new Getter Robo. So this is the 13 episode 2004 series, I believe. And yeah, just more Getter Robo. This has the English dub. I don't know if this has PAL speed up. There's nothing on here to say it has NTSC video, so taking a bit of a chance on that. It does say PAL format actually, 325 minutes PAL format. So it might have PAL speed up, which means the episodes will play ever so slightly faster than the American version would, or the original Japanese version would. It's unfortunate, but I can deal with it. I can deal with it to save that little bit of space, so yeah. So we've got all 4 discs, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it comes on 4 discs because these are just the original volume releases, and they got pretty cool disc art on them. I don't know if it's, I think it's the same as the American release. There is also, if I can get this disc out, there's also a flipped cover on the inside you can use, which doesn't have the Australian ratings on it and stuff. Although, weirdly, as much as I hate the UK ratings and how they look, I don't mind the Australian ones. I guess it's just because they're imported or whatever, so they're kind of like just different looking. I also don't really like flipping the covers on stuff on these a lot of the time because they have blank spines other than the logo. I don't like not having the DVD logo and things like that down at the bottom. It just makes it look unofficial, and while I know it's official and all that crap, like it kind of bugs me. So I prefer to just leave it as is. I can live with the odd ratings appearance on my DVD spine. So yeah, really happy to pick this up. Hopefully the PAL speed up thing, if it is on here, isn't too much of an issue. So yeah, new Getter Robo. Okay, and the final Go Nagai thing, not Getter Robo related, is a Blu-ray release of Go Nagai's heroine character. We've got the original DVD release from Discotek on a TV series released from 1973 of Cutie Honey, and they finally given us another Cutie Honey release. This is, I'm pretty darn sure this is only the second Cutie Honey release Discotek have done, but they've put out the 8 episode OVA from the early 90s of new Cutie Honey, otherwise known as RE Cutie Honey or Reply Cutie Honey, however you would phrase that, which is or Shin Cutie Honey, which is the one that ADV put out across 2 volumes and in a complete set back in the day. So this has an English dub as well, but yeah, this looks really nice on Blu-ray. I had a rip of the Blu-ray on my media PC, but happy to pick up an official release. And yeah, it just looks really, really cool with the English dub. Love the 70s like colouring going on this, psychedelic colouring and stuff. It looks really, really cool. Obviously Cutie Honey is originally a 70s character, so yeah, really, really cool. This is only the second Cutie Honey release from Discotek, and it's only the second one I have in my collection. There is a lot of Cutie Honey stuff, but a lot of it hasn't actually come out. Obviously Sentai recently put out a Cutie Honey Universe, which is the latest series, which I will certainly be getting for the collection at some point as well. But there's also like Cutie Honey Flash from the mid-90s, like a TV series and an OVA. I think there's also an early 2000s OVA, which maybe that one's the one that's called RE Cutie Honey. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, there's a couple more Cutie Honey things out there available, and if Discotek will get them, we don't know yet. Cutie Honey Flash would be a cool pickup for them to get, I think, on DVD. But yeah, new Cutie Honey, really, really happy to have that. Okay, so where do we go next? I guess we'll go to the other shelf and character series I'm trying to catch up on with Discotek. This one is the one that's actually quite hard to do right now. So yeah, I've basically been trying to work on my Lupin collection, and one release I actually did pre-order because it's part of a series I'm really enjoying is the latest in the Lupin the Third, the woman called Fujiko Mine timeline or style of OVAs and TV series they're doing. So yeah, this is the original release that Funimation did for the TV series, and then obviously Discotek followed that up with Jigen's Gravestone, the 2-episode OVA. And now we finally got a copy in English of Lupin the Third Goemon's Blood Spray, which is a super super interesting OVA. So yeah, this one focuses more on Goemon as the title character. I was looking forward to watching this one a lot. The Japanese trailer for this made it kind of look like a 60s, 70s like new wave gangster, like Yakuza, Japanese film, and it also had like the brutality of like a samurai film to some degree, and it's shown off in the trailer. And then so yeah, I was looking forward to watching it, and there were some fan subs that came out a while ago, but I put off watching it in the hopes of Discotek wouldn't take too long to pick it up. It did take a little bit longer than I expected, but finally got it with an English dub, which is cool. The English dub is the same as the Jigen's Gravestone dub, so to keep it in sync with that. So yeah, so yeah, I've watched this now, and yeah, this thing is freaking brutal, more than I expected. Like I'm no gore hound or anything. I'm not super into like violent things or anything, but when it comes to anime and OVAs, I am intrigued by it. But I have to say, this one, not to the point where I was like super in shock or anything, or like disgusted by it or anything, but this one actually pushed the envelope far more than I expected it to, even from the initial trailer. This thing goes some places with the violence, especially there's certain things that happens between Goemon here and this guy up here, the American like lumberjack assassin. I think he's American. He might not be actually. Yeah, their fight in this is fucking brutal. So yeah, basically the story of this one is that Goemon is working for like this Yakuza boss who like runs this like cruise ship casino. Lupin is and Fujiko and Jigen are all on the casino cruise ship trying to steal money. The lumberjack assassin type dude is ordered to or commissioned or whatever to kill Lupin. So basically this all conjugates with them all being on the ship at the same time, and in the process of the assassin trying to kill Lupin and Lupin trying to steal all the money, basically the Yakuza boss that Goemon is working for dies, and you know, that's a great shame to Goemon obviously in his honour and all that, so he decides to take down the assassin that's also coincidentally trying to kill Lupin as well. So Lupin's well on board with Goemon trying to take this guy down, and yeah, like their fight or they actually have like a couple of confrontations. Goemon gets wrecked. Pretty much everyone gets wrecked by this guy up here. Like he is pretty much one of the first Lupin villains, if you will, that really gives them a run for their money. Like he absolutely just fucks them up. And yeah, I want to go into a little bit of detail of what happens towards the end, so if you haven't watched this, like skip ahead a few minutes, or I'll hopefully put some sort of timestamp down here and you can skip ahead if you don't. But I'm not going to spoil it explicitly, but I just want to talk about the violence of what happens at the end, because it's really freaking something else. So, okay, so 3, 2, 1, spoilerish territory. Okay, so Goemon and this guy over here obviously end up having a confrontation at the end. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, the violence in this is savage. The injuries that Goemon sustains are unbelievable. Like, he basically has, at one moment, he has his arm, like, kind of like, all the muscle tissue on this side of his arm, I think it's the axe from the lumberjack dude, just goes right the way through and just slices it off, and it's an injury that this OVA like portrays in this, like, it's kind of weird because it's like this mix of not being realistic, but just the thought of the injury was enough to make me go, oh, huh, huh. It was worse than him just having his arm lopped off, really, because it's just like, there's something so much worse about the idea of being sliced into rather than just having a quick cut through. You know what I mean? Like, it was like slow and deliberate and just, oh god, really, really freaking brutal. And just like what you see left afterwards is just in plain sight as the battle continues. And this happens to Goemon on both sides. I think both his upper arms have this happen to him, and maybe somewhere else on his body as well. Lupin, the whole time this is going on, I think it's Lupin, it might be Jigen, but I'm pretty sure it's Lupin, has something just sticking out of his arm after an explosion went off early on. Like, this thing is far more brutal than I've seen any other Lupin thing be, at least for the consequences of some of the things they end up doing this time. Yeah. And there's also obviously the part where some of the injuries that Goemon sustains on the lumberjack dude are also pretty brutal. Although, again, I still think what happens to Goemon especially is just savage to look at. It's so brutal and yeah, just surprising. It was sort of shocking in a way. It was because I've watched a lot of like slightly violent anime OVAs and stuff, slightly bloody things and monstrous things, and this one in particular just sort of rubbed me in a way that no other anime OVA has ever done, to the point where it really did unsettle me while watching it. I really did enjoy this OVA, but I don't know how. I will more likely watch Jigen's Gravestone again than I would watch this again, just because of the ending and the injuries that Goemon sustains. And this is the part where I say it's kind of unrealistic, because for one thing, Goemon continues fighting as if, not necessarily as if these injuries haven't happened, but in a way that would be unrealistic. Like, he's lost muscle tissue. Like, that's significant. You don't just recover from that. You might not ever recover from that. And at the end, they just wrap it up in freaking bandages and stuff. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, welcome back to those that skip the spoilers. Goemon's Blood Spray, a very cool new entry in this particular Lupin side story, franchise, whatever, the Woman Called Fujiko Mine stuff. Highly recommended, and I'm really happy that Discotek put it out. Apparently the next one they're doing in this is another Fujiko Mine story. I was really hoping they would do a Zenyatta story, one that was more focused on Zenyatta's perspective, but currently that isn't the case. But I really hope they will eventually do that, because yeah, I'm pretty sure the next one is a Fujiko Mine story again. Anyway, so next up I've got Lupin the Third Part 4, the Italian adventure. This is the Japanese language version. I'd like to get the dub version sooner rather than later, but yeah, I got the Japanese language version first because it was the one I could find. Yeah, the Lupin stuff is one of the things that still remains quite hard to get all that stuff. But I am only down to like 5 things left, which is all of Lupin the Third Part 2, although not all of it's out yet. I need to get all of that still. Really drag my feet on those as well. And I also need to get, obviously, the dub version for Lupin the Third Part 4, because I do want to buy both. I just happened to get this one first because it was the one I could find. So, yeah, Lupin the Third Part 4, the Italian adventure. For those of you that don't know, I'll quickly go on a spiel about this. Hopefully it won't take too long. Why there's a Japanese version only and a dub version only. Basically, Lupin the Third Part 4 originally debuted in Italy, which is where the show is set. And the English dub version is based on the Italian original version of Lupin the Third Part 4. The show did air again in Japan about a year after it aired in Italy, and apparently this version, the Japanese version, is slightly different. So when they did the English dub, it wouldn't sync to the Japanese version. You would think therein that the more smart choice would have been to dub the Japanese cut and then just do a dual audio release, but yeah, they ended up dubbing the original. I guess in that way it's kind of cool because we have both the English dub version and this version. The one thing that does bug me, and I'm 99.9% sure about this, in fact I'm 100% sure, like that, it kind of bugs me that the English dub version doesn't have the Italian dub on it as well, because why not? Like, that's the original language the show was in. It's kind of annoying that it doesn't have that. It's not the end of the world or anything, but it's still kind of frustrating. But anyway, so this is the Japanese version. I don't know what the differences are, but obviously there are slight differences to the running time, and just because yeah, the dub wouldn't sync to the Japanese version. But so here it is on 2 discs, so 13 episodes, a disc. Again, not my favourite thing to do, but again, it's Japanese language only with English subtitles. I don't think there's really any extras that are that significant. It doesn't say. It does say special bonus episodes. I'm not sure what those are. Are there like episodes of like Lupin the Third Part 2 on here or something? I don't know. Maybe the show was only 25 or 24 episodes and there's like a 2-episode What are the special bonus episodes? Yeah, there's like creditless opening and endings, art gallery, liner notes, nothing out of the ordinary there. But yeah, special bonus episodes. Anyway, whatever. Happy to have this for the collection. I would definitely like to watch this in its original Japanese at some point, because I like the Japanese Lupin cast. It's the one I'm most used to in some ways, because most of Lupin I've watched has been in Japanese. Sorry for keep itching my nose. Actually, that's not true. That's not true at all. Most of the stuff I've watched is dubbed, actually, now I think about it. In fact, yeah, quite a large proportion. Whatever. But I have watched quite a significant amount of Lupin subtitled as well, but yeah, a lot of it I have watched dubbed. Anyway, whatever. Lupin the Third, the Italian Venture. Okay, so next up we've got a series that is from Monkey Punch, the creator of Lupin the Third, but it's not Lupin, although honestly it looks so much like Lupin. I was really curious about watching this series. I was watching a bunch of anime from 2003. This came out in 2003, so I made sure to pick this up. Especially once I was able to find it. I picked up Cinderella Boy, which is a interesting series, but though maybe not an amazing series. This is based on a short story from Monkey Punch, but this is a 13-episode series. I didn't know it was based on a short story till after I watched the show, and it really, everything fell into place after knowing that it was based on a short story, because I feel like that this show has barely an ending. Like, the ending sucks. The show really doesn't go anywhere. Basically the idea of this show is we've got Ranma. Yes, Ranma, this Lupin looking dude. What's the woman called again? Rella, who is basically the Fujiko looking lady. Yeah, they're basically a detective duo, and one night after doing some detecting or whatever, they end up in a chase and they have a car crash, and Ranma wakes up a little while later and Rella's nowhere to be found. It's like a week later and he just doesn't know what's going on. So basically the idea of the story and where the name of the show comes from is the idea that basically they were as good as dead in this car crash, and someone came about them. I can't remember exactly how. Some weird doctor, like a scientist dude or whatever, who basically blends all their genes and like DNA together, so they basically become one person. Like, whatever. They become one person, fake, crappy, stupid science. They become one person, and every night at midnight on the dot, they switch with no memory of what happened to them previously in the past 24 hours when they were the other person. So yeah, it's kind of strange. Yeah, and it's kind of funny in places, but I don't know, after a while the show kind of grew a little bit stale with me. But I'm going to get into the very specific reason. The problem with this show, and it's like a major flaw, at least for me anyway, I thought the most interesting aspect of the show, I thought when it was at its most entertaining, is when these two characters, Rella and Ranma, are actually communicating with each other and interacting with each other. But the core concept, the core plot of the show means we get very little to none of that after a certain amount of time, because, as I said, they're the same body, and at 12 o'clock they switch, and then it's the other character. So there's like, they're never on screen at the same time, like ever, only in flashbacks. And like the flashbacks is when the show tends to be at its most entertaining and stuff, because it's when these two characters are on the screen at the same time. Like in the first episode, when they are on the screen at the same time, that was when the show was possibly at its best. It's just a really good character dynamic. It's like the Lupin, Fujiko, Mine type dynamic to some degree. and yeah, it was really good. And in this case, obviously the show decides to, just by virtue of the plot, means that we don't get really any of that. And yeah, and it also has a non-ending. So yeah, Cinderella Boy is unfortunately not a show I would overly recommend. I'm not overly surprised that this got passed over back in the day, although I am still a little bit surprised when any show from this era didn't get licensed, because pretty much everything did. But yeah, this is one of the shows that originally didn't, but Discotek brought it out thanks to Inoki Films and all that. So yeah, Cinderella Boy, if you can find it cheap enough, sure, go for it, but I don't think it's that amazing, honestly, unfortunately. Okay, so we have 3 things left in this stupidly long Discotek Haul video. One more Blu-ray. This is another series, came out a while ago, another show that I really should have bought ages ago. It's a Toei animated series, an ONA or OVA, whatever, series. I think it's set in like this weird, like fake mirrored world Kyoto thing. I've been wanting to get this for ages and watch this because it kind of has a similar art style to Eccentric Family, and even though it's not yokai, it's full of like Japanese like looking spiritual monsters and things, and that is a Kyousougiga is the best pronunciation you're going to get from me. Yeah, so this is the complete series. So this supposedly contains all 11 episodes of the series plus the 2 short ONA, like internet only animations they did a couple of years prior based on the same thing. I'm not sure what this is actually based on originally. I don't know if it's an original anime or based on like some light novels or manga or something. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. It's like I said, it sort of looks like it's kind of a mix of like Eccentric Family and like Bakemonogatari and stuff like that. Though I don't know because I haven't really watched any of it. It's just sort of the vibe I get looking at the back and looking at the art style and just knowing that the general story, or at least some of the story they talk about. So in Kyoto, nothing changes, but we don't mean that Kyoto. We mean the mirror capital of Kyoto, the world inside of a painting. Colourful, beautiful, and static, the people of this world live an idyllic, if boring life. That is until Koto appears like a wrecking ball slamming into the waters. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, Kyousougiga. I flipped the artwork underneath this one since I have the slipcover and it's the same on the inside. So big cast shot. And so this is on Blu-ray and DVD. So we got the DVD on 2 discs and the Blu-ray on 2 discs. The weird thing is that the DVD says 10 episodes, and then the Blu-ray says, does it also say 10? Yeah, it says 10, but if you look on the back of the slipcover, it says all 11 episodes plus 1 ONA series on 2 discs. So I think, if I recall correctly, there was like a series of ONAs that came out in 2011 and another one that came out in 2013. Maybe the one in, or 2012 or something. Maybe like one of the other ones was like a full episode and the other ones were just like short 3-minute things or something. I don't really know, and I'm not really going to know until I watch it. But yeah, I do hope to enjoy this. I expect to, at least a 7 out of 10, if not a bit more. What was the other? The other thing I want to mention, this does have pretty cool extras on it, I believe. Although it says sponsor cards. I remember they were, when Discotek were putting this out, I remember they did shared screenshots of what looked like some live action, like behind the scenes stuff or something. Or explaining some of the things that go on in this show. I don't really know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, there's nothing on the back that seems to suggest anything like that. There's just TV commercials, sponsor cards, ONA previews, and then the complete series and opening and closing. So I don't know. I hope to enjoy it, whatever the fuck it is. Okay, talking about whatever the fuck it is, like WTF, I picked up Twilight of the Cockroaches. This is a film from 1987 on DVD here, from Discotek, put out by Madhouse. This actually has an English dub, and this has a Who Framed Roger Rabbit style that is animated sequences painted onto live action. And yeah, this tells the weird story. I'm going to read the back here. So we got the cockroaches of Saito's apartment live in peace with their human host, who gives them lots of space to breed and plenty of leftovers to munch on. In the midst of these high living times, Naomi and Ichiro, who I assume are cockroaches, where were we? Plan to get married and start a family. But when a hard-bitten stranger roach named Hans appears with news of war with the humans across the lawn, it foretells disruption, not only of Naomi and Ichiro's relationship, but of their hive's entire way of life. Featuring animation by Madhouse, Twilight the Cockroaches was a perennial favourite among mid-90s anime fans. Combining live action and animated footage in sometimes stunning ways, it tells a sometimes funny, often tragic tale about the hubris of peace and the pain of war. This is a weird and obscure film. It came out on Laserdisc back in the day, I believe, and maybe VHS, or maybe only VHS, because the video quality on this is bad. I'm just going to put it out there. It's pretty bad. This is better than the fan sub dub only version that's been circulating online for a long time, which I assume was sourced from a scrubby old VHS or Laserdisc. It's a little bit better than that, but it's not a lot better. This is definitely one for people who are just really into animation and anime in general and like to do deep dives. This isn't something for the casuals, I don't think. I haven't watched it. It might be really good. I doubt it though. But the weird thing is, it does come with an English dub. It's English dubbed and Japanese audio, so you've got both. Weird thing. It's not even short either. It's an hour and 5 minutes, so it's a full hour and 45 minutes. So Twilight of the Cockroaches. I was able to pick it up pretty cheaply. Happy to have it, and I think it's really cool that Discotek did pick this up. I often got it confused with a Studio 4C short that came out in 1997 called Noise Man Insect. I used to get these confused just because obviously they're both about insects. I guess I quickly will show you one thing. Like, while this is about cockroaches and all that, and it sounds gross and all that, it's worth pointing out that this is what the cockroaches actually look like. So yeah, like they have like the shells and all that, and all the wings and all that of a cockroach, but they have like human hands and a human head and human neck and human head, as I already said, and faces and stuff. So it's maybe not as creepy and gross as it sounds. Anyway, Twilight of the Cockroaches, freaking weird film from Madhouse from 1987. Super cool that we actually have it. It says here, storyboard was done by Masaki. Oh no, that's not Masaki Yuasa, that's Masaki Sasaki. Okay. I was going to say, I would have thought Masaki Yuasa would have been way too young to be working on something like this. And he was, because he wasn't working on this. Anyway, whatever. Twilight of the Cockroaches. And finally, last and not least, I guess, as I always like to say, we have the Discotek re-release of VS Night Lamune and 40 Fresh, which is a 6-episode OVA of a sci-fi / fantasy series. I thought this was straight up fantasy, and but then I looked into I read a little bit of the synopsis on the back. I didn't want to read too much because this is one of multiple sequels to an original series just called VS Night Lamune and 40, which Discotek are putting out at some point on standard definition Blu-ray, sub only. But this was originally put out. This 6-episode OVA was put out by Media Blasters, I believe, back in the day with an English dub. So, but yeah, the weird thing about this, like the original series, I'm pretty sure is fantasy. It might be set on some alternate planet. Probably it is fantasy. But it is like pretty sure it's like mostly traditional fantasy type stuff. But this one, they immediately, right from the beginning, like, heroes protect the galaxy by destroying it, right? No way. And then it says to save the galaxy from impending doom. And yeah, so this one must be sci-fi as well. So yeah, it's curious. If you have seen the VS Night and Lamune franchise, or you know enough about it, I'm curious to know if this is safe to watch without having seen the originals. I will obviously watch the originals, so and Discotek are going to put them out, so there's a very high 95% chance I will wait to watch this. But I am curious if it's mostly standalone, because I wouldn't mind maybe watching it earlier if I could, but anyway. Yeah, so we got this, and we got a cool alternate artwork underneath, very nice. And I do like the design that Discotek did for this. All 6 episodes on one disc, which isn't too bad, I suppose. Again, not perfect, but I'm not going to complain too much. So yeah, that is the final Discotek release I've picked up. I actually do have one on order, which will probably be here probably tomorrow, but I wanted to do this video today, so that I'll save that for a later Discotek haul video. But yeah, lots more haul stuff to come. I have a ridiculous haul I did recently, which was totally probably not something I should have done, but I'm really happy to have done it anyway, so I'll be sharing that soon. Yeah, and I've got like some other companies stuff that I've picked up, like a bunch of odds and ends from manga and Bandai and all sorts of stuff that I want to share in a video. I've realised I haven't shared my Gundam Blu-ray collection for ages. There's like tons of stuff I've picked up for that which I've not shown on camera yet, so I should probably get around to doing that. And yeah, there'll be other stuff as well. So yeah, I'm Blaze, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you sooner rather than later now that we have this new filming location, but no promises, but fingers crossed we'll be making videos a little bit more regularly. So yeah, I'm Blaze, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon next time.